Well, how's it going, guys? And I'm here with a review of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine for the Sega Genesis. And this is actually the localized Puyo Puyo for the United States. Now, Puyo Puyo was a very popular puzzle game in Japan, and it was ported over here with the Sonic the Hedgehog skin, you could say, with Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Now, it is practically the same game. They swapped out a lot of the characters for Sonic the Hedgehog characters, and this is actually based on the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, and it's a really fun puzzle game. It's a difficult puzzle game, especially if you're playing the story mode. You're going to have a hell of a time with this game. So Dr. Robotnik is out to roboticize all the residents of Beantown, and you know, and basically it's up to you to stop him. And strangely enough, this time around, you're not playing as Sonic the Hedgehog. You're playing as a character known as Has-Been. And, you know, I don't know what this is, but, you know, when you're playing the single-player mode, I don't understand why you couldn't just play as Sonic the Hedgehog trying to stop him. I mean, how awesome would that have been to have, you know, like, kind of like in Dr. Mario style, you could have Sonic kind of just sitting there, kind of like a sprite, well, you know, not sitting, but standing, you know, so show a bit of urgency, of course. But, you know, you see the robot that you're facing off against. You'll see Dr. Robotnik's robot cohort that you're fighting against. And as far as you go, you're in control of Has-Been, who is actually the protagonist of this game. And he's just here dancing around, and this character sprite is really minuscule. It doesn't really seem like he has a sense of urgency or is really doing anything. It barely even looks like he's participating. When I played this game as a young kid, I didn't even know that Has-Been was the protagonist. Unless you read the instruction manual, there's no indication of this at all. He's actually there to save his people. He's there to save Beanville, which is the town that Dr. Robotnik has roboticized into beans. And, you know, the fact that this story gets put on the back burner, I get it's a puzzle game and it was kind of shoehorned together because it really truly is Puyo Puyo, but still, you know, you want to have a good protagonist to get behind, and Has-Been is definitely not that. He's definitely the lamest main character in Sonic history. I mean, I don't think this is even up for debate at this point. I'd rather play as Sonic. This would have been a good excuse maybe just to play as Tails or somebody like that, but, you know, it's a minor complaint. I understand it's a puzzle game, and really it would just be a sprite, really, you know, maybe with a few animations, but, you know, I'm just saying it's just a small improvement they could have made. So let's talk about the game itself. So you have to connect together 4 light colors. It's very much in the vein of a Dr. Mario, or even a Bust-A-Move, you could say, or Puzzle Bobble for, you know, some of my international viewers. You know, so I love these type of games. The games that I just mentioned, I'm big fans of. But I gotta tell you, this is really good. I mean, this is Puyo Puyo, very popular puzzle game in Japan, and, you know, I don't think that it really caught on so much. You know, over here, you know, you don't really see. You see some entries in the Puyo Puyo series today for the next gen consoles. But at the time, you really didn't see a lot of Puyo Puyo popping up. I don't really think that it kind of really caught on. You know, I don't really think a lot of people went for this game. There were a lot of puzzle games at the time. There were several incarnations of Tetris, and Dr. Mario also received a 16-bit update. So there wasn't so much room for a Puyo Puyo or a Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. And that's, you know, that's quite disappointing, because this is a really fun game, and I do enjoy that it takes place in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. But I feel like they definitely could have put a little bit more effort into having that Sonic the Hedgehog feel. I don't know, they could have spruced it up a bit. I mean, look at these backgrounds. I mean, you compare this to the backgrounds in Bust-A-Move and, you know, okay, I get it. Even Dr. Mario didn't really have great backgrounds, so this might kind of seem a bit hypocritical. But, you know, at least you get to see the viruses, and they have, you know, some interesting animations that make them seem more lively. I don't know, the game just doesn't seem that lively. You know, you'll see the robot you're playing against, they'll make facial expressions in certain scenarios, you know, when his playing field is filling up with a lot of beans, you know. And that's the other thing, these are beans. I mean, like, when they're dropping down, they don't look like beans, and that's probably because in Puyo Puyo they're not beans, but they're claiming that they're beans. They look a little bit more like beans when they get smushed together. But, you know, I don't know really where the bean part came from, you know. It was just, they kind of needed a story, so they kind of just threw it together, you know. But like I said, the story could have been done a lot better. They could have, you know, tied it together a bit more to, you know, the Sonic universe. It does kind of seem like they threw it together, kind of like, well, here you go, here's some Sonic the Hedgehog related sprites, here's Dr. Robotnik, here's Scratch and Grounder, here's Coconuts. And, you know, I really like Coconut's face here after you beat him. He's like, what? Yeah, but watch out, this game is super fucking difficult. I had to retry so many of these battles multiple times because you really, first of all, let me give you a tip here. When you first drop these beans down as fast as you can, look briefly at your main playing field, but keep an eye on the next piece coming down, because that is the key to succeeding here. And you have to think multiple steps ahead, because what you want to do is you want to get your opponent's playing field filled up with these dark colored beans. That way it makes their playing field fill up, and it's going to make it very easy for them to fail. Because once the pieces reach the top of the playing field, it's game over. And so you want to try to give your opponent the game over as quickly as possible. So keep an eye on the next bean that is falling down, just like you would in Tetris, just like you would in Dr. Mario. But you gotta be really fast. If you're good at, you know, thinking several moves ahead, that is fantastic. You will probably master this game. But for me, you know, it's really a difficult game. I mean, man, they go so fast, and it seems like no matter how hard you try, you can never go as fast as your opponent, which is going to lead to a lot of game overs. It's fun, you know, but super challenging, and you're gonna feel really accomplished when you finally beat a robot in this game. Now, the first robot is a cinch. It's just a, you know, a matter of getting a hang of the game mechanics, but as you progress, it gets super hard. And it's really funny because some of the robots will drop the pieces super fast and others will go slow, and it's kind of like misleading. Like Coconuts goes really slow, and his strategy, it looks like, you know, he's about to actually kind of defeat himself here, and then you notice that he's just thinking several moves ahead, and before you know it, you've got a bunch of dark beans, and you're like, yeah, like, you know, the CPU is smart in this game. This is a great single player experience. There's a lot of challenge. You know, in a lot of games, you're like, oh, you know, when you play against the computer, there are a bunch of chumps. Not in this game. These robots are smart, and, you know, when you read their intro dialogue, they're not kidding. When this guy says he's going to introduce new strategies, you can bet your ass he is going to do that.
The only drawback to this is it's based on the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, so you could imagine kids back then playing this game for the first time, they were going to get their asses handed to them by these robots. And usually the robots, they're evil, they're created by Dr. Robotnik, so they're bad, and they want to get Sonic, and they want to roboticize Sonic, and they want to hurt him, but they're usually a bunch of goofballs. Here they're bloodthirsty. They're playing for keeps. They're really trying their damnedest to try to stop you. I mean, man, where were these robots during the cartoon series? I mean, they mean business.
So definitely a worthy challenge even for puzzle game veterans.
And the music is fantastic in this game. Weirdly enough, my favorite track is unused in this game. You have to go into the sound test in order to hear it. It's called Brave. It's from the original Puyo Puyo. It's slightly remixed now. Robotnik does have a heavily remixed version of this theme as his intro in the game, but it's not quite the same. It's still really good, but not quite the same. Also, I'm really fond of the password screen music as well. Just a really well-rounded soundtrack with a lot of different types of music that really sets a good mood for this game. And I like all the original pieces and the returning Puyo Puyo music as well. And here's a little sample of my favorite track, Brave.
If you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan and you have not played this, and you're a puzzle game fan and you haven't played this, I definitely recommend that you check it out if you've never experienced a Puyo Puyo game before, because it is certainly a lot of fun. Well guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos.
And I want to thank all my patrons.
And guys, I'll see you next time.